Texas is a place of giants. Giant skies that stretch so wide, they make you feel like you're standing on the edge of the universe. Giant cities like Houston, Dallas, and Austin, where skyscrapers shine brighter than a desert sunrise. Giant food. Because let's be real, if you order a small soda in Texas, it's probably the size of your head. But what if I told you that Texas's real magic isn't in its big cities, or its big meals, or even its big oil wells? What if the real stories, the unforgettable ones, are hidden in its small towns? These are the places where main streets look frozen in time, where cowboy legends walked, where ghosts supposedly linger in old hotels, and where you can stumble into a barbecue joint that redefines everything you thought you knew about brisket. So today, we're ditching the highways and taking the back roads. We're going to explore the 15 best small towns in Texas you absolutely need to see. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the very last one, because the ending of this road trip might just surprise you. Ready? Let's saddle up. Number 1. Fredericksburg. If Texas is famous for doing things its own way, Fredericksburg is famous for bringing a little slice of Europe into the Lone Star State. Founded in 1846 by German immigrants, Fredericksburg has clung to its heritage with pride. Even today, many of the old-timers still speak a dialect of German called Texas German, a mix of 19th century phrases and English words, a living language you won't hear anywhere else on earth. The first thing people think of when they hear Fredericksburg is wine. This small town sits in the heart of Texas Hill Country, home to over 50 wineries and vineyards. The soil here, rich with limestone, makes it one of the best wine-producing regions in America. Walk into one of the tasting rooms and you'll probably find live music, fire pits glowing at sunset, and people sipping wines that rival anything from California or Europe. But it's not just wine. Main Street looks like a movie set, with historic limestone buildings housing bakeries that serve German strudel, boutique shops filled with handmade crafts, and restaurants where schnitzel sits right next to Texas-sized steaks. And when December rolls around, Fredericksburg transforms into a winter wonderland. The town puts up a German Christmas pyramid, a 26-foot-tall wooden carousel lit with thousands of twinkling lights. History buffs won't leave disappointed either. Fredericksburg is home to the National Museum of the Pacific War, dedicated to Admiral Chester Nimitz, who was born here. The museum stretches across 6 acres and tells the full story of World War II in the Pacific. And then there's Enchanted Rock. Just a few miles outside town, this giant pink granite dome rises 425 feet above the ground. Native American legends say it's haunted by spirits, and hikers today still talk about strange whispers carried by the wind at night. Whether you believe the stories or not, climbing to the top and watching the sunset over the hill country will leave you speechless. Fredericksburg is where old world charm meets Texas grit. And just when you think you've seen it all, wait until you taste the peach ice cream in the summer. Number 2. Wimberley. Now let's head east into the hills, where rivers cut through limestone cliffs and art seems to grow on trees. Welcome to Wimberley, a town that feels like a secret hideaway, even though it's not far from Austin or San Antonio. Wimberley is the kind of place that artists, musicians, and free spirits retreat to when city life gets too loud. The heartbeat of the town is its natural beauty. At the top of the list is Jacob's Well, a spring-fed swimming hole that looks like something out of a fantasy novel. Beneath the clear blue water lies one of the longest underwater caves in Texas, plunging over 100 feet deep. Swimmers leap into its cool waters every summer, though divers know it's a cave best left to the professionals. It's beautiful, but dangerous. Then there's the Blue Hole Regional Park. If Jacob's Well is dramatic, Blue Hole is pure peace. Surrounded by giant cypress trees, This swimming area feels like you've stepped into a painting. Families bring picnics, kids swing from ropes into the water, and on hot Texas afternoons, there's nothing better. But Wimberley isn't just about swimming holes. Its downtown is filled with art galleries, quirky boutiques, and restaurants that lean into the creative spirit. There's even the Wimberley Glassworks, where artisans create hand-blown glass pieces in brilliant colors. You can watch molten glass being shaped right in front of you. And if you're lucky enough to visit in December, you'll find Wimberley lit up for Trail of Lights, a holiday tradition where the town's natural beauty blends with glowing displays. Wimberley feels like Austin's artistic soul escaped into the forest and built a town. It's laid back, it's colorful, and it's the kind of place that convinces you to slow down, breathe deep, and maybe stay a little longer than you planned. Number 3. Bandera. Now, if Wimberley is about art and rivers, Bandera is about boots and saddles. This is Bandera, the cowboy capital of the world. And believe me, they don't just say that for fun. Bandera was founded in the 1850s by Polish immigrants, but its reputation as cowboy country came later. During the 1800s, Bandera was a key stop on the Great Western Cattle Trail, where cowboys drove longhorns north to Kansas railheads. That history stuck, and today, the entire town leans into it. Walk down Main Street and you'll find honky-tonks blasting live country music, boot shops filled with hand-stitched leather, and diners where chicken fried steak could probably feed a family of 4. Rodeos are a regular thing here, not just a once-a-year event, but part of the town's DNA. And then there are the dude ranches. Visitors can saddle up, ride across open ranges, learn how to rope cattle, and sit by a campfire under a sky filled with stars. At places like the Dixie Dude Ranch, you'll find cowboys teaching city slickers how to ride horses the same way their grandparents did. Bandera also has its quirky side. During Frontier Times days, you'll see parades with wagons, live reenactments of cowboy shootouts, and locals dressed head to toe in old-fashioned gear. It's like stepping back 150 years, only with more Wi-Fi and fewer bandits. But the real magic of Bandera, it's the feeling, the sound of boots on wooden floors, the crack of a lasso, the way everyone waves at you, whether they know you or not. If you ever wanted to feel like a cowboy, or at least pretend for a weekend, Bandera is where you do it. And who knows, you might just leave with a hat, a belt buckle, and a story about how you once rode through Texas on horseback. Number 4. Luckenbach. If Bandera is the cowboy capital, Luckenbach is the soul of Texas music. And the funny part? The whole town of Luckenbach is basically 3 buildings: a dance hall, a general store, and a post office. That's it. The population? Officially, just a handful. But don't let the size fool you. Luckenbach is larger than life. The legend of Luckenbach exploded in the 1970s when country icons Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings sang about it. Let's go to Luckenbach, Texas, with Waylon and Willie and the boys. Suddenly, this tiny dot on the Texas map was on the world's radar. And here's the thing. The vibe is exactly what the song promised. The general store doubles as a saloon, and under the shade of massive oak trees, you'll find musicians gathering with guitars, playing everything from outlaw country to bluegrass. Strangers become friends within minutes, because in Luckenbach, everyone is somebody. That's the motto, painted proudly on signs around town. Everybody's somebody in Luckenbach. On weekends, the dance hall comes alive. Couples two-step under strings of lights while the wooden floor shakes with the rhythm of live bands. The hall has hosted legends of country music and continues to draw crowds from across the world. And here's the charm. Luckenbach never tries to be something it's not. There are no chain stores, no neon tourist traps, no big attractions. The attraction is the simplicity. A cold beer, a guitar, and the laughter of strangers. It's living proof that sometimes the smallest places make the biggest impact. Number 5. Goliad. From music, we shift gears into history. Deep, bloody, unforgettable history. Welcome to Goliad, one of the most historically significant towns in Texas. If you've ever studied the Texas Revolution, you know the Alamo. But many Texans will tell you, remember Goliad carried even more weight. In 1836, more than 300 Texian prisoners of war were massacred here under Mexican orders. The brutality shocked the region and fueled the Texians' fury, driving them to ultimate victory at San Jacinto. Today, the heart of Goliad is Presidio La Bahia, a Spanish mission-turned fort originally built in 1749. Its thick stone walls still stand, restored to look much like they did centuries ago. Step inside, and you can almost hear the clang of swords and the echo of muskets. A chapel inside the Presidio still holds services. It's considered one of the oldest churches in America still in use. Beyond the battlefield, Goliad has a softer side. Its courthouse square is lined with antique shops and small-town cafes where Tex-Mex is always on the menu. The surrounding countryside, with its mesquite trees and open skies, feels timeless. But Goliad never lets you forget its past. The phrase, "Remember Goliad," isn't just history. It's a reminder of resilience, sacrifice, and the fight for freedom. Visiting here isn't just about sightseeing. It's about standing on the soil where Texas's destiny was written. Number 6. Gonzales. Speaking of destiny, if Goliad was the rallying cry, Gonzales was the spark. In 1835, Mexican troops came to Gonzales demanding the settlers hand over a small cannon meant for defense. The townspeople responded by raising a homemade flag. It showed a black star, a sketch of the cannon, and 4 simple words: "Come and take it." That defiance marked the beginning of the Texas Revolution. Today, that original cannon is on display at the Gonzales Memorial Museum, and the town proudly leans into its legacy as the birthplace of Texas independence. The annual Come and Take It festival every October fills the streets with parades, reenactments, and celebrations of Texian grit. But Gonzales isn't just about its revolutionary moment. It's a town of southern charm, with historic homes framed by towering oak trees. Antique stores dot the downtown, and on weekends, you'll often hear live country or Tejano music drifting from the square. The Guadalupe River runs nearby, offering kayaking, tubing, and fishing. In the summer, locals cool off in its slow-moving waters. It's a reminder that while Gonzales is famous for a fight, it's also a place for peace. The spirit of Gonzales is written on every bumper sticker, every mural, every festival banner. Bold, proud, and unshakably Texan. And if you leave without saying those 4 words, "Come and take it," you've missed the whole point. Number 7. Marfa. Now, for something completely different. Out in the desert of far west Texas sits Marfa, a place that defies explanation. Part frontier town, part art capital, part UFO mystery. Marfa is like nowhere else in America. Let's start with the weirdest part, the Marfa lights. For over a century, people have reported strange glowing orbs floating on the horizon at night. They twinkle, they dart, they sometimes split in 2. Scientists have suggested reflections, headlights, or mirages. But no one has ever proven exactly what they are. Drive out to the official viewing area, and you'll find crowds staring into the desert darkness, waiting. And when the lights appear, goosebumps. Every time. But Marfa isn't just about mysteries. In the 1970s, minimalist artist Donald Judd moved here from New York and transformed the town into his canvas. He bought old military buildings and filled them with giant sculptures. Today, the Chinati Foundation houses some of the most famous, large-scale minimalist art in the world. And then there's the Prada Marfa installation, a fake Prada store standing alone in the desert, stocked with luxury shoes and handbags you can't buy. It's surreal, it's iconic, and it's one of the most Instagrammed spots in Texas. Despite the art, Marfa never lost its small-town soul. Downtown is only a few blocks, with coffee shops, bookstores, and diners serving up green chili everything. The people here are a mix of ranchers, artists, and wanderers who came for a weekend and never left. Marfa is strange. Marfa is beautiful. Marfa is Texas daring to be different and succeeding. Number 8. Fort Davis. High in the Davis Mountains lies Fort Davis, a town that feels like it belongs in both a history book and a stargazer's dream. Founded in the mid-1800s, Fort Davis was once one of the most important frontier outposts in the American West. Soldiers here protected settlers, stagecoaches, and traders along the San Antonio-El Paso Road. The fort saw Buffalo Soldiers, African-American troops, play a crucial role in taming this rugged land. Today, you can walk the grounds of the Fort Davis National Historic Site, where barracks, officer homes, and parade grounds have been carefully preserved. Rangers in period uniforms sometimes reenact drills, and as you wander through the ruins, you can almost hear the echoes of bugles and the shuffle of boots. But Fort Davis isn't just about the past. It's about the sky. Just outside town is the McDonald Observatory, perched on one of the darkest spots in North America. At night, the stars blaze brighter here than almost anywhere else in the country. The observatory hosts star parties, where visitors look through massive telescopes to see Saturn's rings, distant galaxies, and nebulae glowing millions of light years away. The town itself is tiny but welcoming, with a courthouse square, family-run cafes, and trails that lead into the Davis Mountain State Park. Mule deer wander along the roads, and when the sun sets, the sky turns into a watercolor painting of purples and golds. Fort Davis is proof that sometimes the smallest towns have the widest horizons, stretching all the way to the stars. Number 9. Alpine. Just 25 miles down the road from Marfa lies Alpine, a desert town that feels like a cultural oasis in the middle of nowhere. With just under 6,000 residents, Alpine is the largest town in the Big Bend region, but it still manages to keep its small-town warmth. Alpine is a place of color, literally. Murals cover its walls, telling stories of local heroes, desert landscapes, and even dinosaurs. The community college here, Sul Ross State University, adds youthful energy with its own museum showcasing artifacts from West Texas history and paleontology. Every fall, Alpine hosts the Big Bend Balloon Bash, where hot air balloons rise above the desert at sunrise, their colors reflecting against the rugged mountains. The effect is jaw-dropping, like watching floating lanterns drift across the horizon. Downtown Alpine is filled with coffee shops, bookstores, and live music venues. The historic Holland Hotel, built in 1912, remains a centerpiece, offering old-world charm in the middle of cowboy country. And food lovers? You'll find Tex-Mex enchiladas that will ruin you for chain restaurants forever. Most importantly, Alpine is the gateway to Big Bend National Park. Whether you're heading into the Chisos Mountains, rafting down the Rio Grande, or just staring into Mexico from the overlooks, Alpine is the launching pad. Travelers return to Alpine at night, dusty, tired, but glowing. Because Big Bend changes you, and Alpine is the town that welcomes you back. Number 10. Lockhart. Now, let's talk about food. Specifically, barbecue. If Texas is the barbecue capital of America, then Lockhart is the barbecue capital of Texas. And that's not a nickname. They were officially declared so by the Texas legislature in 1999. Here's the deal. In Lockhart, barbecue isn't just a meal. It's a religion. You don't eat with sauce here because the meat speaks for itself. The smoke, the rub, the patience. That's what makes Lockhart barbecue legendary. There are 3 titans of Texas barbecue in this small town. Croyt's Market, Smitty's Market, and Black's Barbecue. Each has its loyal followers. At Croyt's, the tradition is no forks, no sauce, just meat on butcher paper. At Smitty's, the pit is in the middle of the dining room, the flames leaping as you order. And at Black's, you'll find the oldest family-run barbecue joint in Texas. People drive for hours to eat here, and if you hit Lockhart on a weekend, expect lines wrapping around the block. The smell of mesquite smoke clings to your clothes, and you won't even mind. But Lockhart isn't just about barbecue. Its courthouse square is one of the prettiest in Texas, framed by Victorian architecture and antique shops. Filmmakers love it too. Scenes from What's Eating Gilbert Grape and Waiting for Guffman were shot here. Still, let's be honest, if you come to Lockhart and don't eat barbecue, you're doing it wrong. Number 11. Bastrop. Just east of Austin, along the Colorado River, lies Bastrop, a town that mixes small-town friendliness with big creative energy. Bastrop was founded in 1832, making it one of the oldest towns in Texas. Its downtown is lined with historic brick storefronts, most of which survived a massive fire in the 1860s. Today, those same buildings hold art galleries, boutique shops, and restaurants serving everything from Texas comfort food to modern fusion dishes. One of Bastrop's most unique features is the Lost Pines Forest, a 13-mile stretch of loblolly pine trees that feels completely out of place in Texas. Geologists say it's a remnant of an ancient forest that once stretched across the continent. The Bastrop State Park preserves this unusual ecosystem, offering trails, fishing lakes, and campsites under the tall pines. In 2011, devastating wildfires destroyed much of the forest and hundreds of homes. But Bastrop bounced back, replanting millions of trees and rebuilding its community. That resilience is part of the town's identity now, a symbol of never giving up. Bastrop also has a surprisingly strong Hollywood connection. Dozens of movies have been filmed here, from Friday the 13th to Bernie, starring Jack Black. On weekends, the Colorado River becomes the town's playground, with kayakers and paddleboarders drifting under bridges. And at night, Bastrop streets fill with live music, laughter, and the glow of string lights. Bastrop feels like Austin's quieter cousin. Less traffic, more charm. Number 12. Blanco. If Fredericksburg is famous for wine, then Blanco is famous for lavender. Known as the lavender capital of Texas, Blanco transforms each June when the lavender fields bloom purple under the Texas sun. The air smells sweet, bees hum lazily across the blossoms, and visitors come from all over for the Blanco Lavender Festival, where everything from lavender honey to lavender lemonade is on the menu. But flowers aren't Blanco's only charm. Right in the center of town sits Blanco State Park, a green oasis along the Blanco River. Families swim, fish, and picnic along its grassy banks. And in summer, you'll find kids jumping into the river like it's their personal swimming hole. The town square feels straight out of the 19th century, anchored by the old Blanco County Courthouse. If it looks familiar, that's because it's been featured in films, including True Grit. Around the square, you'll find antique shops, cafes, and even a brewery where locals gather after a hot day. Blanco has that rare quality. It feels unhurried. It's not about flashy attractions, but about breathing in fresh hill country air, enjoying a cold beer, and watching the river roll by. If you've ever wished life had a pause button, Blanco might just be it. Number 13. Presidio. At the far edge of Texas, where the Rio Grande bends sharply and mountains rise from the desert, sits Presidio, one of the oldest continuously inhabited places in North America. People have lived here for over 10,000 years. First native tribes, then Spanish explorers, then Mexican settlers. The town's name literally means fort, and its history is tied deeply to survival in a harsh but beautiful landscape. Presidio doesn't put on a show for visitors. There aren't tourist traps or big hotels. Instead, its charm is its authenticity. Walk the quiet streets, and you'll hear Spanish spoken almost as often as English. The influence of Mexico is everywhere. From the food, you won't find better homemade tamales, to the festivals that fill the calendar with music and dance. Presidio also serves as a gateway to Big Bend Ranch State Park, a rugged wilderness of canyons, desert plateaus, and hidden springs. Hikers and bikers love it, but the solitude isn't for the faint of heart. You can go hours without seeing another soul. That's part of its magic. When night falls, Presidio offers silence so deep it feels ancient. The stars blaze overhead, coyotes call in the distance, and you realize you're standing in a place where time moves differently. In Presidio, the past and present blur, and the land itself tells the story. Number 14. Jefferson. Now we head east to the piney woods near the Louisiana border, where history lingers in every brick and every shadow. Welcome to Jefferson, once known as the Queen of the Bayou. In the mid-1800s, Jefferson was a booming river port, rivaling Galveston as one of the busiest trading hubs in Texas. Steamboats carried cotton and timber down the bayous, and fortunes were made here. The wealth of that era still shows in Jefferson's Victorian homes, iron balconies, and cobblestone streets. But Jefferson has another reputation. It's one of the most haunted towns in Texas. The historic Jefferson Hotel is said to be home to dozens of spirits. Guests report flickering lights, ghostly footsteps, and even handwritten notes mysteriously appearing on mirrors. Ghost tours wind through the streets at night, blending history with hair-raising stories. By day, Jefferson is far less spooky. Antique shops line the streets, selling everything from Civil War relics to vintage books. The Jefferson Historical Museum, housed in the old courthouse, is packed with artifacts from the town's glory days. And don't miss a riverboat ride along Big Cypress Bayou, where cypress trees draped in Spanish moss create a scene that feels like stepping back a century. Jefferson is living history, with a dash of the supernatural. Whether you come for the antiques, the architecture, or the ghost stories, you'll leave with a tale of your own. Number 15. Navasota. Our final stop is Navasota, a small town with a mighty sound. Known as the blues capital of Texas, Navasota was once home to legendary bluesman Mance Lipscomb. His music, filled with soulful guitar picking and heartfelt lyrics, put this little town on the musical map. Today, that tradition lives on. Festivals celebrate the blues. Local musicians keep the sound alive in bars and cafes, and murals of Lipscomb decorate the town as a tribute to his legacy. But music isn't Navasota's only rhythm. Its historic Main Street is lined with colorful storefronts, where antique shops, diners, and family-owned businesses thrive. The Horlock House, a Victorian mansion, now serves as an art gallery and artist residency, blending the town's past with its creative future. Navasota is also perfectly placed in the rolling Brazos Valley. Drive just a few minutes out of town and you'll see cattle grazing on open pastures, bluebonnets blooming in spring, and sunsets that turn the whole horizon gold. What makes Navasota shine isn't just its music or its history. It's its authenticity. It's the kind of place where people greet you on the street, where shopkeepers remember your name, and where community still feels like the most important word. In a way, Navasota sums up everything we've seen on this journey. Small towns may not have the skyscrapers, but they have something bigger soul. And there you have it. The 15 best small towns in Texas you absolutely need to see. From cowboy capitals to ghostly bayous, from lavender fields to desert mysteries, these towns prove that Texas isn't just about being big. It's about being bold, unique, and unforgettable, no matter the size. Think about it. A tiny town like Luckenbach shaped the soundtrack of a generation. A place like Gonzales lit the spark of a revolution. A lavender bloom in Blanco can stop you in your tracks. The big cities may draw the headlines, but it's the small towns that hold the heart of Texas. They remind us that sometimes the best stories aren't in the spotlight. They're waiting quietly on a back road, in a cafe, in a dance hall, or under a sky full of stars. So next time you hit the road, don't just race to Dallas or Houston. Slow down. Take the turnoff. Wander into these little towns. Because in Texas, the smallest places often make the biggest memories.